Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to speak to your heart about something many of you have been quietly asking God for. Sometimes with words, sometimes only with tears, and sometimes only with a deep sigh when no one else is listening. You have been faithful. You have tried to do what is right. You have waited longer than you thought you would. And somewhere along the way, a question began to form inside you. Will the opportunities I deserve ever come? Or have I been forgotten? The truth I want you to hold on to today is simple and unshakable. God is fully aware of where you are, what you need, and what He has prepared for you. And He is never careless with the lives of His children. Many people believe that opportunities are random, that life is simply a matter of luck, timing, or connections. But when you belong to God, nothing significant in your life is accidental. Opportunities are not just doors that appear suddenly. They are often the result of a long unseen process God has been working on behind the scenes. While you were waiting, He was shaping your character. While you were wondering why nothing was happening, He was aligning circumstances. And while you were tempted to give up, He was protecting you from stepping into something too early, something that would have harmed you rather than helped you. We often think we deserve opportunities because of our effort, our sacrifice, or our patience. And while God sees every act of faithfulness, His decisions are driven by wisdom far deeper than our understanding. Sometimes the opportunity you think you deserve right now would overwhelm you if it came too soon. Sometimes it would distract you from what truly matters, and sometimes it would place you in a position where pride, fear, or compromise could slowly pull you away from the very purpose God designed for your life. So when God delays, it is not rejection. It is protection guided by love. There are seasons when it feels like others are moving ahead while you are standing still. You watch doors open for people who seem less prepared, less committed, or less sincere, and you wonder why your own path feels so narrow and slow. In those moments, it is easy to question God's fairness, but comparison is one of the quickest ways to lose peace. God does not measure your life against anyone else's journey. He has a specific plan for you, and that plan includes opportunities that fit who you are, where you are going, and what He wants to accomplish through you. An opportunity from God will never require you to compromise your values, abandon your faith, or violate your conscience. If a door opens and demands that you become someone you are not, that door did not come from Him. God's opportunities are consistent with His character. They bring responsibility, not just reward. They require trust, not manipulation. And they invite obedience, not fear. That is why waiting on God matters so much. Waiting teaches you discernment, so when the right opportunity appears, you recognize it not just by how attractive it looks, but by how deeply it aligns with God's truth. Some of you are in a season where you feel hidden. Your efforts go unnoticed. Your prayers feel unanswered. Your dreams feel postponed. But hidden seasons are often preparation seasons. Think of how much grows underground before it ever breaks through the soil. Roots develop strength in the dark. Stability is formed where no one applauds. In the same way, God often does His deepest work in you when no one else can see it. And when the opportunity finally comes, you will realize that the waiting was not wasted time, it was necessary time. God also knows the difference between what you want and what you truly need. What you want may be immediate relief, recognition, or success. What you need may be patience, humility, courage, or deeper trust. The opportunity God brings will address both. It will stretch you, but it will not destroy you. It will challenge you, but it will also strengthen you. And it will require faith, not because God is uncertain, but because faith keeps your heart anchored to Him rather than to the opportunity itself. There are moments when God allows doors to close, even when you prayed for them to open. That can be painful and confusing. But a closed door is often God's way of saying, this is not the path that will bring you peace. It is not the place where your gifts will flourish. It is not the environment where your faith will grow. Trusting God means believing that He sees the full picture when you only see a small piece. It means believing that His no is just as loving as His yes. When the opportunity you deserve arrives, it will come at the right time, in the right way, and with the right purpose. It may not look exactly as you imagined, but it will feel right deep within your spirit. There will be a quiet assurance rather than anxious pressure. There will be clarity rather than confusion. And there will be a sense that this moment is connected to something bigger than personal gain. God's opportunities are never just about advancing you. They are about using your life to bless others and honor Him. So if you are waiting today, do not lose heart. Keep doing what is right. Keep trusting even when you do not understand. Keep praying even when answers seem slow. God has not overlooked you. He has not changed His mind about you, and He has not forgotten the promises He placed in your heart. In His perfect timing, He will bring opportunities that reflect not only what you have hoped for, but what He knows is best for you, shaped by His wisdom, guided by His love, and aligned with His purpose for your life. Waiting is one of the most misunderstood experiences in the life of faith, yet it is one of the most powerful tools God uses to shape a person. When nothing seems to be happening on the surface, it is easy to assume that God is silent or distant. But the truth is, the seasons that feel slow and uneventful are often the seasons when God is working most deeply behind the scenes. Delay does not mean denial. It means that God is carefully preparing both you and the circumstances around you so that when the opportunity comes, it will not only arrive, but it will last. God understands that character must always come before opportunity. If an opportunity comes too early, before the heart is ready, it can damage a person instead of helping them. Many people desire advancement, recognition, or breakthrough, but they are not yet prepared for the responsibility that comes with it. God, in His wisdom, refuses to place you in a position that will expose weaknesses you have not yet learned to surrender to Him. So while you are waiting, He is quietly shaping your patience, humility, endurance, and dependence on Him. These qualities are not learned in moments of success, but in seasons of waiting. Behind the scenes, God is also aligning people, timing, and circumstances in ways you cannot see. What looks like inactivity from your perspective is actually divine coordination. Conversations are happening you know nothing about. Decisions are being made in places you have never been. Doors are being positioned so that when the moment is right, they open smoothly rather than forcefully. God is never rushed, and He is never late. He moves with precision, ensuring that every detail is in place before He allows the next step in your journey. Sometimes waiting is God's way of protecting you. There are opportunities that look good on the outside but carry hidden dangers. There are doors that seem promising but lead to stress, compromise, or regret. If God allowed you to walk through every door you desired, you might end up wounded, exhausted, or far from His will. When He delays or closes a door, it is often because He sees what you cannot see. He knows the long-term consequences, the unseen pressures, and the subtle traps that could harm your faith or your peace. Waiting in this sense becomes an act of love from a God who is deeply invested in your well-being. In these seasons, trust becomes more important than understanding. You may not know why progress feels slow or why others seem to move ahead while you remain in the same place. But God does not measure progress the way people do. While you may feel stuck externally, internally you may be growing in ways that will matter far more in the future. God values who you are becoming more than what you are achieving. He is not impressed by speed. He is concerned with stability and faithfulness. Waiting also reveals what truly matters to you. When an opportunity is delayed, it tests whether your hope is rooted in God or in the outcome you desire. It exposes impatience, fear, and self-reliance, but it also creates space for deeper trust and surrender. In this process, God gently teaches you to release control and to believe that He is enough, even before the opportunity arrives. This kind of trust builds a foundation that will support you when success eventually comes. There are moments in waiting when discouragement tries to settle in. You may question your worth, your calling, or whether your faithfulness has been in vain, but God sees every step you take, every prayer you whisper, and every choice you make to remain obedient, even when it is difficult. None of it is wasted. Every moment of waiting is being used to prepare you for something greater than you can currently imagine. When the time is right, the opportunity God brings will reflect the work He has done in you during the waiting. You will notice that you respond differently than you once would have. You will handle pressure with calm instead of panic. You will lead with humility instead of pride. You will recognize the opportunity not just as a reward, but as a responsibility entrusted to you by God. And you will understand that the delay was not a punishment, but a necessary part of the journey that allowed God to prepare you fully and align everything perfectly for the next season of your life. Opportunities in life often appear to be the result of chance, timing, or human effort. But when you walk with God, nothing that truly matters happens by accident. God is intentional in every step He takes with your life, and that includes the opportunities He brings your way. What may seem random to others is actually the unfolding of a carefully designed plan. God knows your strengths, your limitations, your calling, and your future, and He shapes opportunities that fit all of these perfectly without forcing you to become someone you were never meant to be. An opportunity from God will always be consistent with His nature and His truth. It will never demand that you compromise your values, weaken your faith, or ignore your conscience. If a door opens that requires dishonesty, pride, or fear to walk through it, that door did not come from Him. God does not tempt His people with success that destroys their integrity. Instead, He offers opportunities that allow you to grow while remaining faithful, that stretch you without breaking you, and that invite trust rather than pressure. Many people chase opportunities by manipulation, self-promotion, or comparison. They believe that if they push hard enough, speak loud enough, or position themselves cleverly, they can force a breakthrough. But God's opportunities do not require striving in the flesh. They come through obedience, patience, and trust. When God opens a door, you do not have to push it down. You do not have to compete with others or prove your worth. God's favor does not need your anxiety to function. His plan unfolds best when your heart is calm and surrendered. One of the clearest signs that an opportunity comes from God is peace. This does not mean the absence of challenge, but it does mean the absence of inner turmoil. You may feel stretched, but not confused. You may feel humbled, but not fearful. There will be a quiet assurance that this step aligns with who you are in God, even if it leads you into unfamiliar territory. When an opportunity brings constant anxiety, pressure, or fear of failure, it is wise to pause and ask whether it truly reflects God's guidance. God also designs opportunities that match your calling rather than your ego. Sometimes what looks impressive to others is not what God intends for you. He is more concerned with fruitfulness than visibility. The opportunity He brings may not bring immediate applause, but it will bring long-term impact. It will place you where your gifts can be used effectively, where your influence can grow naturally, and where your faith can remain strong. God never elevates you at the cost of your soul. There are times when God's opportunity arrives disguised as responsibility rather than reward. It may require sacrifice, patience, or learning something new. It may stretch your comfort zone and challenge your confidence. But God knows that growth often comes through obedience in small, unseen moments. An opportunity that truly comes from Him will not inflate your pride, but it will deepen your dependence on Him. It will remind you that success is not about control, but about stewardship. It is also important to remember that God's opportunities unfold in His timing, not yours. You may feel ready, but God sees further. He knows when you are prepared not just to receive the opportunity, but to sustain it. Timing protects what God gives. When something comes too early, it can be mishandled. When it comes at the right time, it can flourish. God's wisdom ensures that the opportunity arrives when it can be fully used for its intended purpose. As you learn to trust God's design, your focus shifts from chasing doors to walking faithfully each day. You stop measuring your worth by titles, positions, or achievements. Instead, you measure success by obedience, peace, and alignment with God's will. This posture of trust positions you to recognize the right opportunity when it appears. You will not be distracted by counterfeit doors because you have learned to value God's guidance over human approval. When God brings an opportunity into your life, it will feel like a continuation of what He has already been doing in your heart. It will not contradict your values or your faith. It will confirm rather than confuse the direction He has been leading you. And you will understand that this moment is not the result of luck or effort alone, but the expression of a God who knows you completely and who is faithful to guide your steps according to His perfect and purposeful plan. One of the quiet struggles many people face is the temptation to measure their lives against the progress of others. You may begin your journey with contentment and trust, but over time, as you watch others advance, succeed, or receive opportunities you long for, comparison slowly creeps in. It whispers that you are behind, that you have missed your moment, or that God is treating you unfairly. This kind of thinking can drain your peace and distort your perspective because it shifts your focus away from what God is doing in your life and places it on what He is doing in someone else's. God never intended for you to live by comparison. He designed each life with a unique purpose, pace, and path. When you compare yourself to others, you are measuring your calling against a standard that was never meant for you. What God has assigned to someone else may not fit your temperament, your gifts, or your future. Yet comparison convinces you that if they have something, you should have it too. And if they reached a certain place by a certain time, you must do the same. This pressure is not from God. It creates restlessness, impatience, and dissatisfaction, even when God is actively working in your life. The danger of comparison is that it blinds you to your own growth. You may overlook the progress you have made, the lessons you have learned, and the strength you have developed because you're too focused on someone else's achievements. God often works quietly and gradually, and His work in your life may not be as visible or celebrated as others, but unseen growth is still real growth. Just because others are moving faster does not mean you are standing still. God measures success by faithfulness, not by speed. Comparison also tempts you to question God's goodness. You may begin to wonder why He seems to favor others, or why their prayers appear to be answered more quickly than yours. In those moments, it is important to remember that you never see the full story of another person's life. You see the outcome, but not the cost. You see the breakthrough, but not the battles. You see the platform, but not the private struggles. God knows exactly what each person can handle, and He assigns opportunities accordingly. What looks like a blessing to you may carry burdens you are not meant to bear. When you allow comparison to guide your thinking, it can lead you to chase opportunities that are not aligned with your calling. You may pursue a path simply because it seems successful for someone else, even if it does not bring you peace or fulfillment. God does not want you to live a borrowed life. He wants you to walk the path He has prepared for you, trusting that it leads to the place where you will thrive. Fulfillment comes not from matching someone else's journey, but from walking faithfully in your own. Learning to release comparison requires a shift in focus. Instead of asking why others are moving ahead, begin asking what God is teaching you right now. Instead of watching someone else's progress, pay attention to your own growth. Gratitude becomes a powerful remedy against comparison. When you thank God for what He has already done in your life, your heart becomes less vulnerable to envy and discouragement. Gratitude reminds you that God has been faithful, even if your journey looks different from others. There will be times when God intentionally slows your pace. This is not because you are less capable or less deserving, but because He is preparing you for something that requires deeper roots. Some opportunities demand maturity, wisdom, and emotional strength that can only be developed over time. God knows when you are ready, and He refuses to rush what needs time to grow. Trusting His timing means believing that He knows what you need, even when it contradicts your expectations. As you let go of comparison, peace begins to return. You stop feeling threatened by others' success and start celebrating it instead. You gain clarity about your own direction and confidence in God's guidance. You realize that God's plan for you cannot be missed or taken by someone else. What He has prepared for you is secure, and no one else can step into your assignment. When you trust this truth, you are free to walk forward with patience, humility, and confidence, knowing that God is faithfully leading you along a path designed specifically for your life and purpose. There are seasons in life when it feels as though you have been placed in the background, where your efforts are unnoticed and your progress seems invisible. These are the times when you may feel hidden, overlooked, or even forgotten. Yet in God's plan, hidden seasons are never empty seasons. They are often the most formative periods of your life, when the foundation for future responsibility and influence is being carefully laid. What appears to be stillness on the outside is often deep transformation on the inside. God frequently works in ways that are quiet and unseen because lasting strength is not built in the spotlight. Just as a building requires a strong foundation before anything visible can rise, your life requires inner depth before outer success can be sustained. In hidden seasons, God focuses on who you are becoming rather than what you are accomplishing. He shapes your attitudes, refines your motives, and strengthens your faith in ways that cannot be rushed. These changes may not bring immediate recognition, but they prepare you for the weight of what is to come. It is natural to desire visibility and affirmation, especially when you have worked hard and remained faithful. But God knows that constant attention can sometimes weaken character rather than strengthen it. When no one is watching, your true values are revealed. Hidden seasons test your sincerity. Will you continue to do what is right even when there is no applause? Will you remain obedient when there is no immediate reward? These questions are not meant to discourage you, but to deepen your commitment and clarify your purpose. In these quieter times, God also teaches you dependence. When external support feels limited and encouragement is scarce, you learn to rely more fully on Him. Prayer becomes more honest. Faith becomes more personal. You begin to listen more closely for God's guidance because distractions are fewer. This deeper connection with Him becomes a source of strength that will sustain you when responsibilities increase and pressures intensify in the future. Hidden seasons can also feel uncomfortable because they often involve waiting without clear answers. You may not know how long this phase will last or what the next step will look like. This uncertainty can test your patience and your trust. Yet God uses uncertainty to teach you to walk by faith rather than by sight. When you do not have all the details, you are invited to trust the one who does. This kind of trust anchors your heart and prepares you to make wise decisions when clarity finally comes. Another important aspect of hidden seasons is that they protect you from premature exposure. There are lessons that must be learned privately before they can be lived publicly. There are struggles that shape humility and compassion, equipping you to lead and serve others with understanding rather than judgment. God knows that if you are elevated too soon before these lessons take root, success could become a burden rather than a blessing. So he patiently allows growth to happen away from public view. It is also in these seasons that your calling becomes clearer. Without the noise of comparison or the pressure of expectations, you have space to reflect on what truly matters. You begin to recognize your strengths, your limitations, and the values that guide your choices. This clarity helps you discern which opportunities align with God's purpose for you and which ones do not. Hidden seasons sharpen your discernment, enabling you to say yes with confidence and no with peace when the time comes. Though hidden seasons can feel long and lonely, they are never pointless. Every moment is being used to prepare you for what lies ahead. God is strengthening your inner life so that when visibility and responsibility increase, you will not lose your balance or your faith. The patience, resilience, and trust developed in these quiet times become the very qualities that allow you to carry influence with humility and wisdom, grounded in a deep awareness that your strength and direction come not from recognition, but from a steady and faithful walk with God. There comes a time when God brings the opportunity you have been waiting for, and when it arrives, it carries a distinct sense of purpose that sets it apart from everything that came before. It is not rushed, forced, or surrounded by confusion. Instead, it unfolds with a quiet assurance that this moment is part of a larger plan. You recognize it not because it satisfies every personal desire, but because it aligns with what God has been shaping in your heart over time. The opportunity feels connected to your growth, your faith, and the lessons you have learned along the way. An opportunity from God often arrives with responsibility attached to it. It is not simply a reward for patience, but an invitation to steward something meaningful. God does not elevate people merely for their own benefit. He entrusts them with influence, resources, or positions so that they can serve others and reflect His character. This understanding changes how you approach the opportunity. Instead of asking how it will advance you, you begin to ask how you can honor God through it. This shift in perspective protects you from pride and keeps your heart grounded. When God opens the right door, it brings clarity rather than chaos. Even if the path ahead is challenging, there is a sense of direction that replaces uncertainty. You may not know every detail, but you know the next step. This clarity allows you to move forward with confidence, trusting that God will provide what you need as you go. Fear loses its grip because you understand that this opportunity did not come from human effort alone, but from a God who is faithful to guide and sustain you.